It might interest you to know that the British abolished slavery, and slavery was practiced by West African tribal chieftains who did very well out of it and continued to supply the Middle East and China and the slave markets there much after the British abolished it in the 1830s. And the British abolished it across India. No, the British abolished it across India I'm sorry, I'm not giving way. Don't interrupt. So they abolished it across India, which had widespread slavery, and in some ways still does. But the British did their best to stamp it out. If you compare the British Empire with other empires, and there were other European empires, it's very strange, isn't it, that virtually all British former colonies are democracies today. The same is not true of... No, sit down. Stop interrupting. Typical woke left-winger. So, compare the British Empire with these other empires. It is very strange that all of the British former colonies, without maybe one or two exceptions, are democracies. This is not true of any of the others. Let's come on to these so-called man-made famines, which 5 million people, where you got those figures from, died in. Well, it may interest you to know that there were major famines in India from the 15th century onwards that have been documented. Many millions died in them. In fact, every 40 years, southern India had major famines. This was before the British were anywhere in India. Now, from the 1880s onwards, the British introduced something called the Famine Codes. The Famine Codes basically gave food for work. They were a public relief operation which targeted famines, eradicated famines, so that there were no famines till 1943. No, when the Bengal famine happened during wartime, and poor Churchill was blamed for it, even though it was due to hoarding by Indian merchants and speculators, not by the British. And it was in the middle of a world war. The British eradicated famines from the 1880s onwards.